Good evening, folks. Welcome to tonight's editions of Stocks and Slides. Joe Man. Thursday, March 18th. 2 red days in a row, folks. Today was a tough one. Before these 2 red days in a row, we had 7 green days in a row in the Dow. And I was like, oh, there's no turning back, no turning back. And then yesterday we had a red day. First one in 7 days. And I was like, well, okay, that's fine. Every day can't be green. Every day can't be green, you know. So when we had those 7 green days in a row, I've totally replenished all my losses from the 2 bloodbaths, the 2 prior weeks, where every day was just a disaster. So those 7 green days were nice. I replenished all my losses. And I was back, let's start getting in the profit zones, right? Let's start making some money, right? And then Tuesday happens, red day. Then Wednesday, another red day. Come on. Hopefully it's behind us, folks. So anyways, I want to talk about SunDial. If y'all haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And if y'all have been following especially my last couple videos. So I bought SunDial, I believe it was Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday I bought SunDial. That was when the merger happened. It was a 50-50 with a SAF or whatever, and it was up 20 cents for that day. And I actually pulled the trigger and invested in SunDial. And if y'all have been watching any of my other videos, I haven't been talking a lot of good things about SunDial, basically because there is no fundamentals or valuations. But that day, after I seen that 50-50 partnership with SAF up 20 cents, I was like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger. I talk about it basically nightly. So I want in on some of this action, right? I was thinking maybe this is going to be like the AMC pumps, the GameStop pumps. And so I took a dive, and I invested about $2,800 in, whatever it was, and I think I had 1,750 shares. So I was in there, and then once I said, not only was a 20-cent gain that day, I realized that they had their earnings coming out in post-market on Wednesday, and I was like, well, that's exciting. That could be exciting, and I'm like, this could really be exciting, and so I bought it, went ahead and pulled the trigger and bought it, and and it was pumped up that day and held on through it through Wednesday, and it dropped a little bit, then it kind of risen back up to about what I paid for it, and so I was I was pretty excited about it. And then in the post market yesterday, the earnings come out, and they crushed the earnings. It was great, right? They beat the earnings. And, and I'm watching this stock in the post market. My strike price was $1.64. And I seen it, it was going up. Every time I looked at it, it went up another penny or two. And at one point, I seen it like at $1.79 in the post market. And I was like, okay, this is why I got into that. Because it's going to run up. They don't beat their earnings. A lot of people got their stimulus checks. A lot of people are pouring their money into this. And I was like, hey, this could be a double or a triple up. I was really excited, right? And so I actually woke up again this morning, early in the morning. It was like 5 o'clock Central. And I looked at the stock just to see what other kind of movement has happened. Because it was like, it was pretty high up late evening yesterday. But this morning, I noticed that it was all the way back down to $1.68 again. And I was like, that's not very exciting. I was thinking I might wake up and see this sucker at $2. But that was not the case. And I heard that there was going to be, the conference call was basically going to go public at around 8:30 this morning Mountain Time. And I was like, what time is Mountain Time compared to Central? So I just ran it. I was like, I think it's 9:30 Central. So anyways, then the market opened up, and I noticed it was kind of dropping SunDial. And it would just drop from the $1.69 to $1.65, $1.66, back to $1.67. I kept waiting to see if the news was out, because I'm like, this sucker's got to run. I mean, it just beat their earnings. The market's opened. It's time for a lot of people to start buying. Surely they're not selling because there's a conference call supposed to go public, right? And you know what's their future looking like. And so I held on to it. But what I did do just before the market opened, I did put a trail stop on it to automatically sell if it dropped 5 cents. I did do that, but I didn't have it activated yet. But once about 9:30 rolls around, I was watching this stock and it was hovering between $1.66 to $1.61, back up to $1.66, $1.64. It kind of just rode that wave. Then I was like, what I was telling a buddy of mine, I said, now this is what SunDial is going to do. It's going to run up after this great news. You know, they don't, you know, and I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. But I figured they're going to run up after the earnings, which they did. And then I figured it was going to continue to run up until this conference call this morning that was supposed to happen at 8:30 Mountain Time. But then I was pretty much expecting an immediate sell-off, you know, on that hour after the conference. So that's when I planned on using the 5 cent trail stop to go ahead and take my profits, bring it in, and let's move on to the next one. But so when it was getting close to this conference call, it wasn't going up, and it was a little disturbing to me, especially after the great news, and it was still hovering around my strike price of $1.64. So what I did, I went ahead and executed my trail stop because I was like, this news is about to hit, and if it's not positive news, then this sucker's going to plummet or whatever. I just wanted to cover it because SunDial it's been very volatile for sure, and I just wanted to cover my ass just in case this thing dropped, you know, tremendously back into the $1.30 or something. So I put my trail stop on right before I figured they were going to have this meeting in this Mountain Time at a 5 cent trail stop. And at that point, it was like $1.66, $1.67 kind of bouncing, you know, and I was like, well, it's heading strong right there. I was like, but where's the news? Where's the news? But then it come out, I never seen anything updated about this conference call. I've never heard anything about it. But my trail stop was executed, and I was able to get out of SunDial with minimum damage. I sold at $1.61. I think I lost $54 total out of my $2,800 investment. So it wasn't that bad, and it looks like I did the right thing. As of last I checked, it was down to $1.39. So I believe that was correct. But let's look at SunDial now. Let's quit talking about it. Let's look at it. Excuse me, it's $1.46. All right, so that was the drop, an 8 cent drop today. And this is disappointing. Why is it disappointing? They beat their earnings. They smashed their earnings, you know. So it's like this is what is supposed to skyrocket a stock, you know, especially a hyped one like SNDL. I expected this thing to skyrocket. It did in the post market a little bit, but then when the market opened, it came all the way back down and settled. And then it just continued to fall throughout the day. And this conference call never came in. And I went ahead and executed a sell, and I'm glad I did as it finished. You know, I was losing $17.50 a penny. So I sold at $161, so that's 15 times, that's $175 or something like that I saved myself for executing that trail stop. And luckily it did execute it at $1.61. Where's it going to go from here? Well, I tell you what, folks, if the earnings didn't make it jump and skyrocket, obviously the partnership with SAF did. It had a 20 cent jump that day. So with that, and then the following 2 days later, they smashed their earnings. They got tons of cash on hands, but this stock falls. Okay? That tells me a lot about the confidence behind SunDial. Long term, maybe. Long term, maybe. But unfortunately, I'm going to call and I'm going to let it be known if what I see here and my confidence in SunDial is kind of how it was from the beginning, and I'm glad I got out. So this is after great news, beat their earnings. Look at this. This was their earnings, right? They beat their earnings. Why is this happening? Look at this. Look at this trend. Now I understand that all the market was green, and SunDial tends to move with the market. If the market's red, SunDial seems to drop. The market's green, SunDial tends to go up. But folks, this is after a 50-50 joint venture with SAF, and then beating their earnings. This is the result. This is not exciting. So the last 10 days was pretty good. Of course, this was like I was talking about. It moves with the market. It doesn't seem to be news movable as it did that 50-50 joint, because the earnings only did in the post market. But I'm not even able to make post market trades, so I can do nothing but watch it. So the only thing we can look forward to SunDial is, I mean, you know, I would expect this, if there's another red day tomorrow in the market, I mean, I expect this to lose another 8 to 10 cents. That's where I see this, and maybe even worse. Now, if the market's green, I mean, it may get a little rippled back up a little bit, but unfortunately, I feel like this ball is going to be falling once again. 2 weeks ago, or about 7 or 8 days ago, this thing was rode a $1.16 line, which I was calling a pretty strong support. You know, maybe when it gets back down to about that area, maybe not quite that low this time, since it did have all that news. Surely it can't fall all the way back to that 2-week support of $1.16. Surely not. But I see this easily dropping back into the $1.30s, and depending how next week goes, the next week market, this thing could be back into the 120s. Depending on the market. Now, if the market's rolling green, I expect this one to slowly get its 2 or 3 cent increases a day. Again, I am not a financial advisor or no expert. This is just my personal thoughts and beliefs of the company, and the trends and patterns that I have seen, and the tendencies that seems to transpire after great news, which, you know, not a whole lot. But one thing interesting we can look at, currently the bid-ask size is 209,700 over 56,000. So there's a lot more orders to be bought. There's probably a lot of people like this price drop, so it looks like maybe an indication to buy for, you know, some people. I think it's still a little early. I think this sucker can drop into the $1.30s, and then you can start considering $1.20s. Then maybe, you know, because obviously they're going somewhere. They are going somewhere, but maybe currently they're just a little overvalued, and it's having a little correction. Maybe so. It was a very heavy volume day of 421,371,822. So that is SunDial. Let's look and see what kind of butt kicking did I endure today. Like I said, I did sell SunDial today with a minimum damage of about $54 loss. But I am diversified into other companies. And I did lose $362.05 today, down 3.30%. And here's what it did for me. MRMD, this is a pretty solid marijuana stock. If you haven't, check MRMD out. I have this thing's, you know, it seems to hold pretty steady. Unfortunately, I'm in at 88 cents, and I've held it now for about 3 weeks. This is probably definitely more of a long-term investment for me. But check out the news and stuff at MRMD. There's great valuations and fundamentals, and they are stretching their footprint for sure. SDPI, I actually bought a few more of these because I am in at $1.25. I'm just trying to lower the average down just a little bit. I don't really have any high expectations with SDPI currently. I did when I purchased it. I did swing trade this a couple times over the past couple months, made a few $100s on it. But the last time that I did purchase it obviously was not the right time. So I'm holding on to it, looking for a swing trade opportunity. PFIE, which is a company that I just swing traded Tuesday. And made about $270 on it. I sold it for $1.47, I believe. Today, I actually bought it. It was, you know, all the energy sectors were down. They also have a 50-50 partnership going on with someone. I can't name off the top of my head, but I just rebought back into that today, bought 1,500 shares. Unfortunately, currently I am down 105 after today's purchase because it dropped 7 more cents on me, now at $1.34. HDSN, this was very interesting. My strike price here is $1.64. Purchased this on Tuesday, I believe. For some reason, I woke up this morning when I was checking SunDial. HDSN was all the way up to $1.90 in the pre-market. So I was really excited about that. Thought I was going to execute a swing trade and make a few $100s on that first thing this morning. But, you know, it was similar to SunDial. Once the market opened up, it balanced completely back out. And, you know, it did finish 1 cent up from where it did yesterday. IVR, I bought more shares of this today. Currently, my strike price is $3.94. I purchased this on Tuesday at $3.94. At the close of that day, it was as high as $4.07, so I was really excited about that. And with the market bleeding today, I've seen an opportunity to buy some more, so I did buy a few hundred more shares today. You know, just because I seen what it did yesterday in a red market. It actually finished pretty high up, so I wanted to take advantage and seen the dip and bought the dip. So, you know, currently I own 1,145 shares of this. This is my biggest holdings currently with a market value right now of $4,488. Like I said, I'm in at $3.94, currently down $26.20. This is going to be my money maker here, I do believe. IVR. Out of all these sectors right now, IVR will be my next swing trade opportunity. And I believe, you know, you're talking a couple green days in a row. I mean, this thing has movement 15 cents a day, one way or the other. But if we get some green days, you know, I definitely have several $100s there I can rake in on a swing trade with that. Well, folks, that's what a SunDial did today. That's what I did with SunDial. That's what my account did today. How did y'all do? If y'all would, please comment below my video. Let me know if y'all are still holding SunDial. What's your expectations? Send me a couple of those rocket ship emojis or some sad faces or whatever. But please hit that like and subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. I think y'all have a great night. Thank you.